So I felt like if I ever got an opportunity to create a fighting organization and do it exactly like I wanted to do it, which is kind of a dream come true. You get to do something that you love and you get to do it the way you want to do it. I'd set it up so fighters controlled their own destiny. I'd go out and I would recruit 8 of the best featherweights and 8 of the best lightweights and 8 of the best welters and 8 of the best middles, and you put them in a tournament structure and you flip a coin and you say fight. And ultimately they fight, and at the end one will be standing and the rest will go home. It's a very simple concept, and it's one that a lot of people, most of the people here understand the fighting sports, but when you talk to general market consumers about it, they look at you like, well, isn't that the way the fighting sports works? It's not, and we all know it's not. It's based on this amorphic, floaty, subjective concept called matchmaking. So what we did is we changed that concept. We partnered with ESPN, we partnered with Ford, we got great fighters on board, and the fighters at Bellator control their own destiny. If you win inside the cage, you move on to a championship. The tournament structure is based on 3 fights over 3 months. You win $25,000 for your first win in the opening round. You win $50,000 for your second win in the semifinals. And if you win the night of the finals, you win $100,000. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and the best get to the end. So in terms of the response to that concept, to date, knock on wood, the response has been quite good. Our ratings on ESPN have been very high. Our replays on ESPN are currently doing north of 1s in terms of cable household ratings in the States, which is spectacular. The attendance at our events has been very high. The media has been very responsive to it, and I hope it's because of the trackability. Fighters fight, the best move on. It's not a reality show. Nobody's living in a house pulling funny pranks on anybody. They train in their own backyard. They travel with their own trainers. We do feature pieces and backstories on those fighters. It is true sports in its most basic form. If you win, you move on. If you lose, you go home. The event that we're doing here represents the culmination of our biggest and most powerful weight class in terms of our semifinals. Hector Lombard, who by many people's accounts is maybe one of the top 5 middleweights in the world. He is a spectacularly exciting fighter. He won his last fight against Virgil Lozano, I think, in 32 seconds, so we didn't get to see a lot of his explosiveness. We got to see one uppercut and the fight ended, and Virgil went home and Hector moved on. He's fighting a fighter named Damian Stelly. Damian Stelly and Jared Hess, both of whom will be fighting on this show, represent exactly the type of fighters we were looking for. World-class fighters who had not necessarily been given a chance to perform at the top level. And so we brought Damian Stelly onto our show. He won a spectacular to-and-fro fight against Alex Andrade, who's been in the sport for a long time as a top-tier competitor. Damian is got a great backstory. Damian is an Army Ranger who teaches hand-to-hand combat and mixed martial arts to the Army Rangers at the highest level in the United States. He's done 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan, kind of a compelling story, fighting Hector Lombard from Cuba, 2-time Olympian, in our semifinal. Our other semifinal, Jared Hess, is a guy who we hunted out from Oklahoma. He's a national caliber wrestler in the United States, undefeated now, 7-0. Demolished Daniel Tabera, a world-class middleweight, in our last event. Took him out at the beginning of the first round in very, very dominating fashion. Was actually shocking to us because we didn't know what we could expect out of Jared. We knew Daniel had fought some of the best in the world, but Jared hadn't, and was hugely dominating in that fight. And he'll be fighting a fighter named Yosmani Cabezas, who had a spectacular win last 2 weeks ago as well. So what we've got is we've got great matchups at middleweight. And again, the guys win, they move on to our final, a chance to win $100,000 in a single night. They lose, they go home. To the event that we're doing here, we will also be, which is really neat, looking into our next season, we'll be looking at Canadian fighters. And we'll be putting some key Canadian fighters on the show to be able to look at them for potential spots in the tournament that starts in the fall. So everything, the trackability that we wanted to create was that everything we do leads to something. There's objectivity to it. It follows. It's got almost a tiered system where whether you're competing on the undercard in a matched fight where we want to see what you've got against a tough competitor, or whether you're competing in the tournament, it all actually means something. So really, really thrilling to be here. there were obviously a lot of different potential people and potential groups that we could form an alliance with in Canada. My longtime attorney, one of my best friends in the world, Leon Margulies, who Yvon just spoke about, introduced us and our company to Yvon and to their group. We went to events, we saw what they do, and it was exactly the type of events and the type of structure and the type of professionalism that we hope to achieve one day in the United States. So it's a magical alliance for us. Thrilled to be here, and I think it will be, when we come and when we're here at the end of May, it should be a very, very exciting event with the biggest and most powerful fighters that we have fighting basically for their chance to fight in a world title fight. So thank you.